Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for our guests following us online. We're connecting here from Dubai, UAE, for our annual meetings on Global Future Councils and Cybersecurity. We've got a great panel with us today, and we're going to actually dig into writing out cyberstorms. We've seen kind of continuous cyber attacks underway over the last months. If we think just in the last few weeks alone, we saw a ransomware attack on a London nursery chain where sensitive data on 8,000 children was put up online with names, addresses, and photographs. Just for that, we saw a cyber attack on a airline baggage and check-in system, which led to hundreds of delays and exposed vulnerabilities. Just the month before, we saw an attack on a major auto manufacturer, which then led to not only a halt in production, which I think here we have at roughly $50 million a week, but also led to very intensive debates on what was the state of the cyber insurance policy at the time of the attack and whether this was an insurable mechanism. I trust that woke up a lot of CFOs and chief legal officers around the world. And we can go on and on with these examples. So we are in a space that we're under kind of continuous cyber attack, cyber threats, and also in an area where we're moving quickly into AI. That's been a key topic throughout the discussion here on, okay, what's the role of artificial intelligence play in this, in both expanding the surface area of attacks, providing new tools to cyber attackers, but also can it help us actually defend ourselves in a very complex and interconnected world. So we'll have a chance to dig into these topics in more depth in the next 45 minutes. But before we jump in there, I'd like to start by just introducing our panelists that we have with us today. So I have Samir Saran, President, Observer Research Foundation, a longtime collaborator and friend, joining us. We have on my left, Kimba Walden, with President, Paladin Global Institute, and be curious also to hear about your latest work and domains. Across from me, I have Joe Levy, CEO of Sophos, based out of the United Kingdom, and then Dario Leandro Genua, Secretary of Innovation, Science and Technology, joining us from Argentina. So thank you for everyone, and looking forward to discussion, rich discussion here today. Now, I want to come back to this question around the looking at this kind of wide range of threats, challenges that we're facing, and dig in particularly into some of the geopolitical, geoeconomic elements of this. The World Economic Forum publishes a global cybersecurity outlook every January. And our most recent report highlighted that 60% of organizations have adapted their cybersecurity strategies due to geopolitical pressures, right? So they've rethought their strategy, not just on supply chain, not just on manufacturing, but their cybersecurity strategy as a result of geopolitical pressure. Adjusting operations, sometimes halting or changing operations in different regions, and changing vendors in other cases. So as we look into a year that continues to be tumultuous, I'd be curious to maybe start with you, Samir. How do you see kind of these geopolitical, geoeconomic tensions playing out in the cybersecurity domain in the year and the next few years ahead?
That's a very big topic, but let me just try and give you a few trends.
Yeah.
The first, of course, is because of the heightened geopolitical tensions around the world. And literally conflicts now proliferate across the globe. The demand for cyber capabilities is an all-time high. And there is also, unfortunately, a public-private model that is in many ways being incubated because of this demand. Private sector is collaborating with governments to build cyber capabilities and sometimes foreign governments as well. So in some sense, who is your adversary and what is this capability vis-a-vis your own is blurry. and many times when you deploy cyber weapons, you add to the adversary's capabilities. So in many ways, the deployment of cyber weapons and cyber capabilities is creating a zero-sum spiral to the bottom. And but that is the mood we are in, and because of the higher threshold for violence that we all see around the world, and therefore the disturbance to the escalation ladder, we believe increasingly governments view cyber weapons and cyber attacks as a legitimate, informal, quasi vector to deploy with impunity. I think that's the first geopolitical outcome. The second, increasingly, is also that we have seen some inadvertent consequences of decoupling. And you were mentioning that how companies are reshifting their operations, moving out of certain geographies, moving away from certain vendors. What we are left with is that one part of the world is very familiar with the other part of the world, but that other part of the world that is decoupled does not have the same granular and intimate insight into the operating systems of the part that they have decoupled with, which means that deterrence has changed dramatically, which means that the part of the world that decided to decouple, say the US-based system, is today far more susceptible to adversarial impacts than the Chinese systems, of which very few countries have intimate knowledge. And I think there is an asymmetry because of this geopolitical fragmentation or the economic decoupling. And of course, the third is the big trend, the big shift, the big buzzword is AI. And for me, AI is means everything and nothing at the same time, right? But all I can tell you is this: that as someone mentioned in a room we were in, which is true, that AI has increased the attack surface and the attack capabilities multifold. Has AI increased our defense capabilities and our ability to defend in the same ratio? And I think that's the point, because now you have taken away a big market shaper from the picture, which I was talking to someone sitting here earlier, that if the risk insurance markets are not able to factor in the implications of AI on the capacity of an organization or a country to defend itself, how is that sector going to evolve in the absence? Already the cybersecurity insurance market was so frail because there is no taxonomy, there is no agreed literature that allows us to price risk. But now with AI, you've added a layer of complexity which drives out these actors from shaping behavior. So now you have actually folks who see attack as the only form of cyber stability and capability, which makes it a dangerous battlefield to be.